Hey, what's going on? Here to talk today about the levitation of stones. So, back in the old days, there's a myth that men formed in a semicircle with iron instruments and quartz instruments and granite instruments, and they would send electromagnetic waves to a divot in the ground, and in the divot in the ground would be a piezoelectric medium or rock or made of granite or some sort. And it would be a certain distance away from this wall here and a certain distance away from the drummers and the musical players. And they would rotate this stone. Now here we can see counterclockwise and clockwise rotations happening simultaneously here in this Ripple tank simulator. Now I will show you how I got that. What I did is I did the exact same thing. Here's the medium. I did the exact same thing as the drummers. I aligned the drummers, say they came like this, and their shock waves were all released at once. And then I sped up the simulation to see what happened. And what happens is there's counterclockwise and clockwise rotations occurring within the medium. It should become more evident here soon. One can vaguely see it right now. There. So now two the other perpendicular plane of rotation comes from these funerary cones, in my opinion. So what the ancients did is there was a person, and they would hold these cones out like this, and these cones would intersect and form double heli or helixes into the medium, and that would be the other form of perpendicular rotation. So here's the drum back here, and it would go around the cone, and as it got to the apex of the cone, right here, it would form a double helix. And then they intersected those two double heli and into the medium that was already rotating like this from the drums, and they would cause an acceleration to occur. They would counter gravity. Another theory for a perpendicular rotation is that they use these alabaster drums with holes in them, and these holes would form mini toroids like a smoke ring cannon. I'll draw that now. So here is the drum, here's the tube. As the shock waves get sent through the tube, there becomes a smoke ring, and that smoke ring travels into the medium to be a perpendicular rotation. And then I'm talking about perpendicular rotations here, canceling itself out. And I talk about this in other videos. This is an important equation. Its acceleration equals omega prime. And that's just a simplified version of it. And what omega and omega prime means is that omega prime, one's at 0 degrees rotation and the other's at 90. It's perpendicular to that. So imagine a smoke ring and a vortex. Those are two perpendicular rotations. There's a 90-degree angle in between the two. Anyways, if you have two perpendicular rotations, the limit of omega prime approaches 0, then you get acceleration approaches 0. And if gravity's 10 meters per second, if that approaches 0, then you get lift. You generate lift within an object. And I know I'm going fast with this. Essentially, it's just back to perpendicular rotations. And double rotation caused by the drumming arrangement of a semicircle. And then additionally, if you do a simulation on a funerary cone, let's say, a semicircle of drums around the funerary cone, you can see at each point of the cone there is standing concentric rings. And this is from a bird's eye view, but the theory is that if you were to be facing in the parallel in the direction with the funerary cone, at the very apex there would be a double helix forming off of it. And again, all the material was piezoelectric. So the funerary cone was piezoelectric. It had piezoelectric material. The levitating stone was granite. It had piezoelectric material in it. So in other words, all these rotations happening inside the medium caused by sound was electromagnetic in nature. was electromagnetic in nature. Now, what's interesting is if you look underneath a ferrocell, a magnetic field in a ferrocell, you create the same thing, just via drums. So here we did our semicircle. Now I'll do a full circle, and I'll show you what it looks like. And I will slow that down because that was just too fast. There. So one can see as they approach the center, there's a similar geometry between the two. It's almost as if they're creating magnetism within the piezoelectric medium. And that allows the object to levitate via magnetism. So they're using sound and piezoelectricity to turn the force pressure wave of sound into electromagnetic activity, which is two counter rotations in perpendicular planes, which cause an acceleration. Watch.